Well, hi, I'm John Hart, and welcome back to Mr. America Hart. Tell me something. When you go to work out, do you think to yourself, well, I'm recovered from the last workout that I did, and therefore I'll be just fine in this workout. I'm good to go. If today you're going to train your chest and you think to yourself, well, it's not sore anymore from the last workout, I'm recovered, I'm good to go. All right, well, I want to just kind of open your mind to a new thought that maybe you haven't had lately or at all. And that is, when we work out, the goal is we dig a hole of energy, maybe some resources, some micro damage to certain parts of your body are used up. Your body must recover from that workout, regardless of other workouts happening. It must recover both locally and system-wide. And then it's going to overcompensate. It's going to overcompensate for the stress you put upon it by creating new muscle tissue, if you're training correctly with the weights, right? The weights are just a tool. The workout is just a tool to be used to stimulate the body, to get it to react a certain way, to create new muscle, overcompensation. So now, tell me, now that I've explained that to you, should your focus be on recovering from workouts or overcompensating, getting overly compensated for that effort that you put out in those hard training workouts? Man, you don't have to ask me. I'm going for overcompensation. That's the most important point. I can credit a man with opening my mind to thinking this way, and that would be Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer was a Mr. America, a Mr. Universe, and if any of you have had your eyes and ears open lately on YouTube land or any social media, you will have noticed high-intensity training, HIIT, has made a big upsurge in the last year and a half or so, and Mike Mentzer's name and image and likeness and a lot of his interviews have been used to represent high-intensity training, HIIT. Well, I was friends with him. He trained me when I was living in Southern California, and we were friends for years. We lived on the same block. And the important part here is when I asked him, at one point he had finished one of his books. And in that book, I found it to be one of the most influential or important books that he had ever written. It was called Heavy Duty 2, Mind and Body. In that book, Mike referenced several new topics that I had not seen referenced anywhere else. And one of them was addressing avoiding overlapping of muscle groups, the same muscle group, within several workouts, within a given week. An example of that would be your triceps. If you're going to train your chest, you used your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. It's unavoidable if you're doing any kind of pressing motion for your chest. If you do your shoulders, if you're doing any kind of pressing motion for your shoulders, you're using your shoulders and your triceps. If you're training your back, again, it's virtually impossible to train your back, any back movement, where you are closing the joint, pulling your elbow toward your side or toward the back. You have a lat, of course, that's being worked, and then we also have a long head of your tricep that crisscrosses the back of your armpit and connects opposite your lat, and they both serve to close the joint. So even when you train your back, you're using the long head of your tricep. And these are 3 workouts that I'm mentioning to you without even mentioning a direct tricep workout. So that could be a 4th workout. If you trained all those body parts in one week separately on separate days, you've just hit your triceps 4 times. That's a lot. So Mike addressed that in his book. But when I asked him what was the most important contribution that he thought he was making to bodybuilding by that writing, Heavy Duty 2, Mind and Body, he said unequivocally and straight to the point, he said, addressing overcompensation, not just recovery. And you'll see in a lot of my videos, I do too. You see, I want you to reap the benefit of all of your efforts when you put out a hard effort in your workout. The effort uses energy, it uses resources. There's theoretically micro damage being done. This is ground zero. You've worked out. So your body is having to replenish its energy stores, repair certain parts of itself as a response to the workout. But you sent a strong signal to grow. You sent a grow signal. You sent a I need more muscle signal to your body. So after you've dug that hole and you've filled it back in, tell me, is that what you really wanted? I mean, you are ready to work out right then and there. If you wanted to work out, you could. And you'd be using similar weights for similar reps. Hardly noticeable as far as any difference, or is there anything you're missing, right? Well, we're leaving out this part right here, the overcompensation part. That's where your body builds something a little bit back on top of itself to prevent any future onslaught of that same stress. Because in your body's vernacular or language, it only understands life and death. God built us this way where we have a great survival mechanism in our bodies. Life, death. Okay? Avoid death, live as long as we can. That's our body's purpose. That's all the systems in our body's goals, is to avoid death, live as long as it can. So if you've subjected yourself through a great workout to a stimulus that says, body, grow new muscle in response to this stimulus. I need you to do this for my survival. And you send that strong signal powerfully enough, your body is waiting to respond to that after it has recovered from the workout. Recovery precedes growth. But after recovery happens, if you just wait a little longer, boom, your body grows that muscle. Now, Mike, back in the day when he explained it, he went simply as far as to say, well, if you're recovered from that workout, at the very least, you're going to need one more day to let the growth happen, if not two. That was his reasoning. There were no studies done on this at the time. There was no science tracking this at the time. But it was his way of assuring, it's a better word, assuring that you would go ahead and grow that muscle. And that's the bottom line on the entire thing when it comes to the workouts and recovering and being ready to work out again. You don't want to just be ready. You want to be ready to work out again and go in with that new muscle that you grew, send a stronger signal yet again and grow more muscle, right? So that's it. Open your mind to that when you design your own workouts. And hey, if you need any help with it, of course, I have some options for you. You can go ahead, you can go to my website, mramericahart.com, and I've written 3 books from beginner to intermediate to advanced. Not even intermediate, but just beginner is one book, and then I have another one that's all-encompassing. Then I have a really advanced one as well. So you can get a hold of those through mramericahart.com. If you're a beginner, it's year 1 in the beginning. If you are a intermediate to advanced trainee, you can definitely pick up Physique 101. It has routines, it has diet, it has multiple routines and pictures, training descriptions, everything I could think of. And then, of course, if you want to see what I did in the course of a year on myself, there's Mr. America's Shape Up series. So that's it. Pick up one of those, download it for cheap, all right? That's it. From my heart to you, I hope you find this video encouraging. If so, before you leave, please, that disc popping up next to my head, that's the subscribe button for my channel. Please give that thing a tap. YouTube will let you know when I have new videos pop up. And then down below, over there, there's a thumbs up. Give that thing a tap, won't you? Turn it blue for the sake of the algorithm. I really appreciate it. From my heart to you, John Hart.